In today's video, I want to explain the overall or general structure of an HTML table. So I'm going to try to rebuild the table right here by just writing some HTML code within a measure in Power BI. But why is this helpful? Because I think it's a good idea to have a general understanding of how all the elements that you can actually get from our sample report, how they work. So it will make it easier for you to take one of them and adjust it to what you want to have, and to tweak it and to change the formatting bit by bit. And by learning the basics, I think it doesn't mean that you now need to create every table from zero, but still it will help to just understand the basic and the basic elements of a table. Okay, let's start. I'm going to move this out of the way. I'll leave it there so I still have a reference of what I'm trying to build. And now I'm going to create a new measure, call it HTML table. And then I need to define quite a few elements, because if we think of a table, every table has certain elements. We have the overall table, we have a header, we have rows, we have columns, we have cells, and that's what we need to add to our HTML code. So the first tag is just a table. So we basically tell the visual that everything that is following will be table definition. The next one would be the table head, the header of the table. And then the TH, which is the first column of our header. In our specific case, that would be the word country, which I now just type in here, country. And then I close the table head tag again. And because we have two columns in our table, I can copy this, go to new row, paste it in, and now we are still in the header, but in the second column, which means now I add the word value. So, value. We're done with the header definition, which means we can close the header tag. The T head can go away. We're done with that. Which also automatically means that we're starting with the table body. The table body is basically everything below the header. So the T body, and then we define the table row by row and column by column. We start with rows, so TR for row, and then within the TR, the first row, we define the TD, the table data. So let's see, we are in the body, in the first row, in the first column. So we are in the body, in the first row, and in the first column. So Switzerland is what should be in here. Close the TD tag, and because again we have two columns, we add another one. So now we are in the second column, which means value. Sorry, not value, 100. Value is in the header. And we are done with the very first row. Because there's a second row, we just copy paste this and change the country and also change the value. And that's basically it with our table definition. But to follow best practice rules, we should also close all open HTML tags. So the T body is still open from up here. Let's close it. T body. And the table tag itself is open from up here. So we close the table tag. And let's see if there was any typo in here. We'll see this when we add the measure to the visual. It displays the table, so it looks like there wasn't any typos. We didn't add any formatting yet. That will be our step 2. The only formatting we have is the table header, which is already bold, but this formatting is coming from an HTML setting, so whenever we use the table header tag, the header is automatically turning bold. Let me turn off the tooltip for the visual. And to make it easier for you to see, I'm just going to increase the overall size of the visual. Okay, let's start with the formatting. So what are we going to do first? Let's add some background color. Let's add background color to Switzerland and USA. And I'm going to do some things the wrong way because it's easier to explain how it is actually done by just doing it wrong first. So I'm going to do something wrong. I'm going to add a style to the first TR, to the first row. What do I want to style? I want to style the background color, and it should be light gray. Switzerland becomes light gray. If I do it this way, if I define this row by row, it means I need to copy paste the code quite a lot. I could take this, of course, that works. Paste it in here. USA is now also gray. But basically what I want to do is I want to format the entire table body. And this is why I'm better off taking this style away from the rows and add it to the body. So it's important where we add the style. You see the table didn't change, even though there's no more formatting in the rows. It's now coming from the body. So even if we add a row, that row would also be gray. Okay. What are we doing next? Next off, let's work on, I don't know, it doesn't matter, the alignment of the values. Right now my values are left aligned. I would like them to be right aligned. So the first row, second column, the value 100, I want to change the style. So the style should be text align right. Let's see, the number 100 is moving to the right, so that worked. It is now on the very right, but actually I want to leave a little gap, so I can add a gap by just adding the padding right 5 pixel. So now the 100 moved a tiny bit to the left again. So let's just say I'm happy with this. So I again copy the code, paste it down here, copied a bit too much. So the number -20 also moved to the right, but it doesn't touch the actual border. Let's work on the size a little bit more, because if we look at the different behavior of the tables, changing the size of the visual doesn't do anything here, unless I make it very small. But it doesn't really, my table is not responsive. This table, on the other hand, is fully responsive. So when I change the size, the table changes with the visual, and I want to have the same for my new table. So I need to define the style or the size, and here it is quite important that we use percentage instead of hard-coded number of pixels, because only the percentage will make it responsive. So now it's 100%, which means if my visual has more space, the table also uses more space. Let's see what happens. The table becomes bigger. And I can now do the same thing also for the columns, to say the country should use, I don't know, roughly 60 or 40% of the table, just a little bit more than the value in this case probably. So we can add this to the table data, to the TD tag per column. So here we also want to add a style for the width, which should be, I don't know, 70%, and which also means that the second column should probably be 30. Again, we can copy paste. We can copy paste this, and we can copy paste this. just, yeah, I think that should be it. 70 and 30, there is just one little thing wrong again with copy paste. We need to be careful. Okay, so my table is now responsive. Very good. What I don't like is that those white gaps in between. So you see we have these white lines here. I don't actually want them. In this table here there's no lines. So this is a setting I need to do on the table level. So on the table level we say border collapse. There's no more borders in between the cells. That's nicer. Now, speaking of borders, we actually have a border across the entire table, a black border. So we should also add it on the table level. The border is probably 1 pixel solid black. Good. And then we also have this blue line between the header and the body. So basically this is a border on the bottom of the header. So it is on the T head where we add the style for the border on the bottom. And this is maybe also 1 pixel solid blue. Good, so we have this border. What else? The height of the rows. It looks like the header of my initial table is a bit higher than the row, so also this is a setting on the table header where I say the height is, I don't know, 40 pixel maybe. Yeah. And the countries, I think they also have a different height, so here I would say the TR, this is something I define on the row. So the style of the row should also be height 20 pixel. Maybe a bit bigger so we see the difference. Okay, 30 pixel for the row, again 30 pixel for the row. And then the only thing missing, I guess, is the color for the values. So the 100 should be green, the -20 I want to be red. So the 100 is here. Again, if I don't find it, it is within the body, in the first row, in the second column. So here I say color green. And here I say color red. And okay, the countries I also had bold, so we can do this in different ways. Let's just do it the easy way and just add the B tag in here. And do the same for the country, bold, bold. Good, bold countries, colored. So that looks very much the same. The size is not exactly the same, but you get the overall picture, right? And I think this is very important to know, because only if you know this, it will make it easier to actually go into the sample report, which I have open here, and find an element that you like, because all these elements here are basically tables. And also if you go to the table page, well then of course these are all tables, and getting the basics right will help a lot to just, you know, make your increase your overall skills in when it comes to working with our visuals. Of course, as always, if something doesn't work out as planned, you just simply leave a comment below, or you reach out to us, and we'll make sure to also make your report work and get you to the table or the KPI card or whatever element that you wish to create with our visuals. So yeah, I think that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next video.